Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. This is going to be the last part of my everyday carry bag in celebration of 500 subs, so let's get started. Again, in celebration of 500 subs, thanks to you, those of you who have subbed, and hopefully I earn a sub by the end of this video from those of you who haven't yet. But I've been overviewing my Mary Poppins bag or my everyday carry bag. So this is going to be, I believe, part 6 of 6. And the last portion we have to cover is the little compartment right here. So as previously covered, I do have individual color coding for the zipper pulls. The blue one's going to be the tool accessory compartment here. On the exterior zipper from my odds and ends bins video, you may recall seeing these. I have duct tape here, a different color duct tape, and then 2 different types of electrical tape. On the inside, we have odds and ends. So I have staples and push pins and screws of different diameters, lengths, and terminated heads. And of course the issue with this is always getting it to fit back on, but a couple shakes and compressing it into place will usually get the job done. So you can see I have a couple different head types. We have Phillips and Torx and stuff like that. The shaking and rattling is reduced thanks to the tape being on the outside. The containers themselves are just large Tic Tac containers. And you can see that you can either open it up, take a look inside, make sure that you have the right bin, and then you can open the compartment. And this one has a screwdriver with a bunch of bits. Some of them are I think they're 1/8 inch, and the other ones are 1/4 inches, and those 1/4 inches will augment the icon bit set that I have also inside this bag. But precision screwdriver set with precision bits with the driver itself. And that'll let me do repairs on glasses. And I find if I'm out at the range, a lot of the rifle scopes will require this fitting or that fitting, and I may not have something on my keychain that can handle it. So that is a way to keep all that stuff together. I'm pretty sure that is all I have in the outer part here. Moving to the inside. This zips quite a ways open, and you can pull the whole thing apart. So I do have a compartment here that I don't think I keep anything in. We have, this is a old magnetic hotel key card, and I wrapped some more duct tape around it. So nice and thin. You could easily put this into a wallet with some duct tape, or you can see it takes up very little space. Any of these solutions is going to take up less space than a roll of duct tape that has an empty hole in the middle. So wrapping it on a card, around an item, around a toothpick, these are all ways that you can minimize the amount of space they take up while still having the tape with you. Let's move into this one. This is a sewing kit. This was in one of my previous videos as well. This is just a rubber band that I wrote sewing on. I don't feel like opening this because it's going to make a mess, and you'll note I don't really have a place to put it, but you can see I have 4 different color threads. I have a couple needles, safety pins. That's a measuring tape. That is a tape versus a measuring tape. So it's not metal, it's paper, it's fabric, so I could wrap it around my wrist and get the diameter kind of thing. I will say, and it's right there. So I have the 4 sewing needles pushed into, we'll risk it, pushed into a sheet of cardboard like thusly. And by doing that, 1, I know where they are. 2, I know how many I have. 3, I'm not going to prick myself by digging around in here and find them. And 4, the tips are covered. So Again, I'm not going to injure myself. I can determine which eye size is the one that I need, and I know where they all are because it's something very easy to find. Even if I drop it, I know where it is. I don't have to find a literal needle in a figurative haystack by putting it into a little bit of cardboard. So this is just a kit from 3, 2, 1 Dollar Tree, and I repurposed it into a smaller container. I love me some Dollar Tree. They've got a lot of stuff there that doesn't break the bank and will serve you a lot better than if you didn't have it. So that's my sewing kit. We have a dual outlet high capacity. I think it's 2.1 amp each wall charger. So I can charge any of my accessories and both of our phones at the same time if we go on vacation or camping or something like that. We have a measuring tape. This one is also a clothish type. So it's not a metal one that you can extend out and keep going until it floops and falls over. This one I can actually use to measure the area of something more than just the length of it. So you can measure your head circumference to determine what motorcycle size, motorcycle helmet size that you need, stuff like that. More useful than just measuring the length of something. On the exterior of the bag, I had mentioned I have pins and markers. You'll notice that they have clips. This silver one does not have a clip, so I don't have a means to secure it on the outside of the bag. I just toss it on the inside. That is the cuckoo clock. Everyone should have one. This was a find. I was visiting a local metro park, and there's trash everywhere because humans are assholes. When I went and picked up that trash, this butane lighter was sitting underneath the trash. So refillable lighter, you can see right here the capacity that you have. I can use this for soldering, fire starting, heating it up and then using it as a hand warmer, boiling water, burning things for the kids' amusement, burning things for my amusement, all the things. Admittedly, a little large, but for the price of free, it serves my purposes pretty well. This is the icon set. I've already done a couple videos on it. This is super duper ridiculously handy. Not cheap, $45 on sale, I think like $50, $53, not on sale unless those prices have dropped. But basically every bit that you would ever need, some that you would not need, and does most jobs that you would think a little tool set like this wouldn't be able to do. In regards to a previous video, I had said that the bag has some metal mesh to act as a spine, essentially, to keep the bag rigid and in its own shape, and it can stand upright even when empty. So I went ahead and got another one of those, cut it to this size, and you'll notice the other benefit to this is not only does it maintain this size, but it also gives me a inside-outside divider. So I can put smaller items inside here, and I can have the inside and outside compartments, essentially. So if I don't unzip this all the way, then I know these things will stay in place, lighter things or what have you. And then I can use that as a divider or to compartmentalize things. Another thing it will allow me to do, when this isn't broken, is I can clip things onto it. So I can store these things on the netting, and that will help keep everything where it's supposed to be as well. I know that this stuff isn't going to fall over. I know this isn't going to sink to the bottom, and then I can pack things around it, and it now gives me a little bit more structure, a little bit more form on the inside here. This is a Cyber Tool L, the large one. It's essentially all the tools that you have in your Swiss Champ. It deletes some and it gives you the Cyber Tool. So these are double-sided bits. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. You have a Phillips and a flathead here, and you would just flip it over. Put this away. I now have a 90-degree screwdriver and a 180-degree inline screwdriver. So works pretty well. I've kind of sort of retired it or do limited usage on it because this is a very expensive to get even used, let alone new tool. So I'd rather put a little bit more wear and tear on the tried and true Swiss Champ than this guy. But for a while it was my EDC. You'll notice this is a trick I learned online as well from this guy. He does all sorts of stuff that I kind of aspire to on this channel as well. He does it far better than me because he's been in the game a lot longer than me, but would recommend his channel as well. A bunch of Swiss Army knife hacks and tricks and stuff. But this is electrical tape and this is electrical tape. And if you wrap it in a diameter that is smaller than this bit holder, it allows you to keep tape and use it as a tape dispenser on your cyber tools, be it the SL or M. Or light. There's 4 different models. And you can also, depending on the color you use it to be a high contrast color to find it if you drop it in the dark or in the grass or something like that. So you can use Scotch tape or duct tape. You'd have to cut it down. I chose electrical tape because I do electrical stuff. So we have to go with that the Victorinox knife sharpener. I think it's like $12 on Amazon. You have the stone portion, and it takes a little bit of pulling, but you have a V-notch ceramic rods that you would drag the edge through and sharpen things up. You'll notice while we're here, probably, yes, the first day that I had this, I was working on it at my desk and it fell off my desk. So with the super glue that I carry at all times, and you should too, I was able to glue it all back together. Being it's stone, it's very porous, and it just soaked up that super glue pretty well. I have had no issues with it since then. So, ooh, sorry, getting over a cold. This was from a previous video as well. This is essentially a meat thermometer, but it will work with air, liquid, and solids, so I can see how hot water is when I'm boiling it, or how hot the oil in the car gets, or the heat out of the air duct coming out of the furnace during the winter, stuff like that. So again, with the clip, I added magnets here so I can magnetize it onto something to be hands-free. Once upon a time, there's a magnet here as well. It was very small, and well, that's why it's not here anymore. But then it also has a clip, and since it has a clip, I shall choose to clip it into place like that, like this, and then this one was here. Let's get this out of the way. Again, you'll notice I used some tape and just wrapped these corners so that's not quite as sharp. When you're entering from the side, if you unzip it and reach in there, you could ouch yourself, or more likely it'll start working its way through the fabric. So putting a deterrent there is of benefit. These are high visibility zip ties. I like high visibility zip ties. I use them on a great many things. So I do have white and black larger ones on the outside of the bag. For smaller micro stuff, I have high visibility zip ties. This is a rain poncho from Dollar Tree. You can use it to keep the rain off you, the wind off you, the sun off you, all sorts of different things. You can probably use it for water transportation. It's red, so it's a relatively higher visibility if you're in the woods. If you need, if you have something long hanging out of your vehicle, typically, I'm pretty sure it's the law in most states, you're supposed to secure something red, like a flag, to it to draw attention to people behind you so they don't back or drive into it expecting you to be here, but your load is sticking out and they run into it. Giggity. So this is $1.25 is cheap insurance. If it never gets used, it never gets used, but it's nice and thin. I could either wear it on myself or put it over the bag, or with the bag on me, put it over both of us, give it to the kids, whatever needs to be done. But a poncho takes up very little space. This bag has a clip for like keys or something like that. So I just secured a rubber band, a couple of everyday carry tools, also known as paper clips. And then this was from a prior video. This is a level that I took out of a Dollar Tree level and made a level that I can check the level of level surfaces on with this level. We have a rather large ferro rod, ferro rod, but basically you scrape this hard enough with a sharp enough object, like a knife or the saw blade off of the Victorinox, and it will throw sparks, and they're hot enough that you can get sap or bark or something like that going without needing a butane lighter or risking running out of fuel or something like that. So essentially a backup. Inside this guy are the, also in a previous video, chemical sticks, glow sticks, night sticks from Dollar Tree. Fits nicely right across the diameter of my bag. Moving on from a previous YouTube video, we have, this is a boroscope, so I can look inside of things. Most notably, when I was doing my sound deadening mini-series on my channel, I added sound deadening material to make my Subaru Forester much quieter. So much so that I can hear a wheel bearing whine at 50 miles an hour, but I cannot diagnose by shaking the wheel which wheel bearing it is, but I know it's happening. It removes noise from your life, but it allows you to hear sound. So I can still hear the engine, I can still hear horns, dogs barking, traffic, stuff like that, but I don't hear as I'm driving. By the way, that was so boroscope. The nice thing about this is it is fairly rigid, so I can move it towards whatever I need to look into without having to be right up against it to feed it in. This will work on a laptop, a PC computer through a standard USB-A, plus it's a micro USB, or if I leave this off and put that there, it's a USB-C, and I can connect this to my phone and use my phone as the monitor to use this as a boroscope. So auto repair, looking inside of air ducts, completely hypothetically, because hypothetically, your kids threw like 29 goddamn toys down the air conditioning vent, hypothetically, in the living room, and I needed to make sure that I got all of them out of there. So I was able to run this down there, confirm how many more were down there, keep reaching my hand in there until I kept scratching the hell out of myself by the screws and the ducting, because it turns out you're not supposed to be shoving your arms down there. All of this purely hypothetical. The I'm pretty sure last thing is I have a sheath that I made crudely by myself. Can you tell? Not store-bought. Basically a paper towel roll that I cut to length, wrapped in duct tape to give it a little bit more structural integrity. Inside here I have two hemostats. These are scissors, I believe. Those are scissors. So scissors and hemostats. Hemostats, basically, what am I willing to sacrifice? This. So these are essentially pliers. You would grab whatever you need to. Right here is a mechanism that will hold on, and you have 1, 2, 3 levels of grip, and they will hold in place. So this is a great way to pinch off IV tubes or gas lines or hoses or anything like that. Excuse me. As long as it fits in the jaws here, you can squeeze it and just use that for gripping and pulling, right? And then if you needed to, once you get these two teeth in line, it will hold in place. So you can use this to glue as you're gluing things together as a vise, to pinch off and squeeze off things to get a better grip on things. If something is hot, you can grip it and use it to give yourself several inches of clearance away from the heat, kind of thing. Since those are going to be very sharp, especially the scissors, they fit nicely into that sheath. These are odds and ends for that boroscope. The last thing I have are reciprocating saw blades. And you may recall from a previous video, the vice grips that I keep in here, I put a notch in it. So when I bite down with the vice grips on this, they essentially become a handle. And now I have a wood with nails and a multi-material saw blade set that I can cut through larger branches, twigs, logs, stuff like that. Things that are bigger than the saw blade on the Victorinox would be able to handle. And I can always get the proper blade to be able to cut through metal or whatever I would be doing for that day. But also very sharp, also needed a sheath, so goes in my custom sheath. Right, so in the process of rebuilding this, I forgot I left this guy out. So this is, and you can typically get these free from Harbor Freight, by 5-finger discount, I suppose. But typically they have if you spend more than X number of dollars, you get a free item, or with the coupons, you could get one of these for free. I think they're like $9 otherwise. But it is a multi-tool with leads. So I can do direct current, alternating current, amperage, all sorts of stuff like that. For the line of work I'm in, having access to a voltmeter, diagnosing your car, hypothetically, but also in reality, in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere, Iowa, the wife's car, Chevy Equinox, started having dim headlights, and then the boys' DVD player went out, and then the dashboard lights started getting dim, and yeah, it turns out the alternator shit the bed. To be fair, is after 127,000 miles on the clock, but I was able to use the voltmeter that I had in the rain to diagnose fuses and circuit breakers and stuff like that. Figure out if the charging system was working, what voltage the battery is at, how much longer can we go before we're risking the battery being too low, stuff like that. So I have uses for it. You might not necessarily have a use for it. Learn how to use it. Very easy to use and very helpful in your day-to-day diagnosing wall receptacles and phone chargers and charging cables and resistances of cables and stuff like that is pretty useful to me. But then again, it's quite literally my job. All right, so that is about all we have for today. As I said, this is a celebration of 500 subscribers. For those of you who have subscribed, I do appreciate it. For those of you who have watched this video and are new to the channel, hopefully I will earn your sub in some period of time. But pretty big milestone for me. Just over a year, I got 500 subs. For the life of me, I don't know why anyone out there would be interested in these videos, but I am thankful to those of you who are. So that's what we have for today. Any questions, comments, concerns you have, go ahead and leave them in the comments section down below. I appreciate hearing from you guys. If I showed you something that you feel that you need to add to your kit, or if you feel that I've overlooked something in my everyday carry bag, go ahead and let me know in the comments section below as well. Again, as a celebratory thing, I thought I would make a little mini series on this. I know a couple of co-workers, for reasons beyond my comprehension, are interested in what it is that I have in my bag, so we've gone through the contents of the bag. So with that, I appreciate you guys coming along. This is outside the target demographic. Any questions, comments, concerns you have, leave them in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks again.